Hey everybody, so here we are. This is example number 9 from today's classwork. Today's classwork, you'll be doing problems 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and you'll be doing a check step for all of them. So I thought this was the hardest problem on there, so I would show you how to do this one step by step. So what makes this problem challenging? Well, it's a two-step equation. There's parentheses. There's a rational coefficient, and there's even a fraction on the inside. As you're going to see, it's actually going to help us that ends up being a fraction. So the good news is the steps are you're going to isolate the variable and balance the equation. So for all of the problems today, the first thing that you want to do is you want to get rid of that rational coefficient. So how do I undo multiplying by -4/7? I multiply by its reciprocal. So I'm going to put a -7/4 next to the -4/7 to show that I'm multiplying by the reciprocal. So now what's happening here is I am isolating the variable, and then I also have to balance the equation. So I'm going to put the -7/4 on the right side as well. So over here, I cross simple. They all become ones. And I can just bring down the x minus 1/4. On the right side, I can cross simplify also. The sevens become ones. And now I have 3 times -1 is -3. And 1 times 4 is 4. So I have -3/4. So I have x minus 1/4 equals -3/4. I'm going to add 1/4 to both sides. So I bring down the x. They have different signs, -3/4, +1/4. So since they have different signs, I subtract and I keep the sign with the greater absolute value. The negative is greater, -3, so it's -3 plus 1 is -2. My denominator stays the same, and I get x equals -2/4, which technically simplifies to x equals -1/2. So that is the solution for number 9. Okay, I multiplied by the reciprocal, -7/4 on both sides. Then I added the opposite, 1/4 on both sides, to isolate the variable. Now I need to check it. So here's my check step. I'm going to plug that -1/2 in. But if I'm really being smart, I know I need a common denominator, so I'm not going to use the -1/2. I'm actually going to use the -2/4 that I got the first time. So I have -2/4 minus 1/4. I actually find that a lot of students get tripped up here because you think subtraction, you think we're taking away. But remember, the subtraction just means that the 1/4 is a negative. So if I have a -2/4 and a -1/4, they're both negatives. So what would happen if I put this negative and this negative together? You end up adding them and keeping the negative sign. So what ends up being in this parentheses is a total of -3/4. And now on the outside is -4/7. So now if I look here, a negative times a negative is a positive. I can cross simplify the 4s. The 4s become 1s. And I have 1 times 3 and 1 times 7. 3/7 equals 3/7. My check step worked. Remember, negative times a negative is a positive. So positive 3/7 equals positive 3/7. That's number 9. Feel free to pause this video at those steps and copy them down to help you. For all of the problems where there's a rational coefficient, there's a fraction in front of the parentheses, multiply by the reciprocal first, and then treat it as a one-step equation. Hope this helps. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and I'd be happy to help out. Tomorrow, we're going to do a review of two-step equations, and then Monday, we'll do a overall review. That'll be when your quizzes due, your practice journal quizzes due. And then Tuesday, the 14th, that's the test day. Okay, it's a big day for a lot of us. A strong test will go a long way. Good luck, and I'm available if you need me.